Welcome. I'm Suzette McHugh, Industry Partnership Coordinator at North Monco Technical Career Center. Today we're going to take a look inside North Monco and learn more about the machining program. Joining me now we have Mr. Frank Torrente, the instructor, and Lauriana Stinger, one of the students in the program, so I'm glad you're both here. Frank, let's get right into it. Your program is very exciting, but a lot of people don't really understand what a machinist does. Can you tell me more about what a machinist actually does?
Sure. What a machinist does is they craft different things out of metal, different projects for industry. Could be anything from a part for a car or a plane or something in the medical field. Different metal products go into all around us, and we can see them every day.
So, Lauriana, it sounds like, machining is used everywhere. How did you even pick this program? How did you know what machining was even about?
Okay, so it's kind of a funny story. I didn't know much about machining before. I genuinely didn't even know the class was at Monco. And then I was originally accepted into cosmetology, and we went to the orientation, and someone wanted to show pictures, and they were being held in the machining classroom, and nobody was going with him, and me and my mom felt really bad, so we basically chased him down in the school, got into the classroom, looked at his pictures, and then sat through the machining classes orientation. And then my mom discussed with me about how you're gonna have to talk to and touch a bunch of strangers and everything working in the cosmetology field. And that wasn't my thing at the time. I didn't have that many people skills. So I backtracked really hard and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And she was like, why not try machining? That seemed like an interesting class. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I got in it and I ended up liking it a lot. And now I'm fairly good at it, I should say myself. But yeah, it's definitely a really good field, and I'm glad that I picked it. I kind of see it a little bit as fate almost, kind of like something shaping my future for me. So.
Right, it sounds like it because, you weren't even considering it at all, and just by chance you walked into the program and liked it. Yeah. So that's really good. Now, Frank, do you have many females? Is this a female-oriented program?
Every year we get a couple, but the females are not conventional students in the field. It's mainly males, but I feel the females do rather well in the machining. They can really focus, kind of sometimes multitask, and really stick to it. If I have a female in the class, they really want to be there.
I heard that about it, and similar to welding too, there are non-traditional female roles, but yet more females are going into that because they can be creative in that without having to deal with the customer in cosmetology. Like you were saying, you didn't want to do that, but yet you still have the opportunity to create something.
Yeah, you're kind of in the background, but it's a good thing because then you know how everything works basically, and you kind of have a different perspective on things than anybody else, because everybody just sees the finished product of whatever you and a bunch of other people have made, but you can look at something and basically pick out how it was made and how the different parts were made. And it makes life more interesting, in my opinion, because then you value things a little more because of how much work people put into actually making something for the consumer. So it's definitely a prideful class, in my opinion.
Well, you said your mom talked you into visiting the program. Do you now, when you're out with her, find something and say, oh, I know how that was made?
Sometimes. She's not as interested in it as I am because she's more about, it's your future, you're the one who's really interested in it, I'm in the background. But sometimes I'll look at something and I'll be like, hey, look at that, guess what, that was made by this, 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 and this. And she'll be like, oh, I didn't know that, that's really cool. And I'll be like, yeah, that's awesome.
It sounds like it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah.
You're really thriving in it. So Frank, what do you teach in your class? What would someone like Lauriana learn throughout the years?
Some of the typical things that a student will learn is how to read blueprints, how to read symbols and finishes, different types of prints that come about, whether they're a part print or assembly prints. They also learn how to use precision instruments like calipers or micrometers, which are also used in a lot of other fields like automotive, engineering, that type of fields. Plus they learn different machinery, how to operate different machinery, how to turn a round object on the lathe, how to mill square blocks on a milling machine, how to grind and get a nice smooth surface, along with different types of saws, any kind of metal working equipment like that, pedestal grinders to sharpen tools, a vast amount of tools that are used in the metal field.
So, Lauriana, like he's saying all these words, did you even know what any of this was or this equipment? What was it like with the calipers and using the mill? What was that like?
It was a little scary at first because I felt like I should have had knowledge going into that class, like any background on it should have felt like I would have be able to do better. But once I actually got in and the teaching actually began, I realized that you could know nothing. Like I didn't even know what it was, and I kind of went in blind, and you come out perfectly fine with all the knowledge that you would need to be able to get a job in this field. So it wasn't that difficult, but learning it was a little weird because it's a whole different aspect of life than normal. But it's easy to adapt to, and a lot of the stuff is a lot easier than people make it out to be.
So, Frank, do students need to have any kind of knowledge when they come into your program, or is this where they're going to get it?
No, this is definitely where they're going to get it. We'll teach everything. In fact, some tool makers or model makers that I've met from time to time often say, maybe if you take a kid that has no knowledge, they don't have any bad things that they often do,
Right, no bad habits.
No bad habits. Everything is basically safety, safety goggles and stuff like that, but they'll come in probably and leave with a better idea of how math works, how geometry works in different shapes, how to make a square block really square, how to make round parts work and fit into each other for an assembly or a fixture or something like that. It really doesn't need any basic things. The only thing that is required is if you like to work with your hands and you don't like sitting behind a desk all day, that's probably the best thing I can ask for.
And like Lauriana, you were saying you didn't want to deal with customers all day, so you get to work with your hands, but not the customer aspect.
You get to be not necessarily secluded, but the only people that you have to work with are the people who are your coworkers, which you normally adapt to them really easily, so you can become comfortable with them. So, like I said, you're more in the background than anything else, but in a good way, rather than having something bad.
Obviously in a very important way.
Yeah.
Too. Now, your teachers mentioned about math skills. Do you think, someone watching this, maybe 8th, 9th, or 10th grader, worried, oh, he's had math skills? What do you think? Is that essential?
You don't need to be incredibly good at math. It's not that much difficult math that you have to do, and any math that you do have to do, you're normally taught how to do it, or you already know. It's something that you think you wouldn't need in real life. Like you learn stuff in school and you're like, oh, I don't need to know this, it's fine. And then you go into this class and they'll teach you math stuff and anything else you need that you will use in real life. So it's more valuable. And like I said, if you don't know it, you will know it. Like you will be taught. If you don't know things, that's the perfect opportunity for you to learn.
And Frank, I guess it makes more sense for the students because you're integrating the academics with the technical portion, and so it probably clicks more, the math, because they don't see it as something boring. They see the end result of it.
Yeah, when you apply, especially when we get into CNC, which is computerized numerical control and all, a lot of the geometry and changing over fractions to decimals, there's all charts around. It's very easy to use the charts. You don't have to memorize all the fractions and decimals there. The geometry of shapes, whether you're putting in a bolt pattern or working with pockets that are square or, or just a shape in a object to make a product that the customer wants. A lot of the science and stuff of the different kinds of materials makes a lot of sense to you. It really applies well, and when the students come in, they really look and say, this is how I never thought I'd use my geometry shapes and trigonometry and stuff like that, but now it all makes sense.
Right, that's what it seems like once you're
Makes you
doing
feel a little
it.
more valuable too, rather than just sitting and learning something that you feel like you're never going to like use in real life. Because a lot of students, their mentality is that I'm not going to use this, why should I care? And then once they actually learn it in something that they will have like real life application to, it means so much more to the person and the teacher too, because then it feels like they're actually getting it and that they actually care about their work and everything. So I think it's more valuable.
And it probably even seems easier to grasp the knowledge
Yeah.
when you're doing it that way. That's great. Well, so tell us about a typical day in your classroom. What's that like?
So there's normally, it's kind of standard, but it's different every single day. Everything happens differently. Most of the time we get dressed into our stuff, which is just a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, a denim apron to like shield us from things, and our safety glasses, all of our safety stuff. And then we go out and work on our machines on whichever project that we happen to be on at the time, or we help around with stuff in the shop if T needs help and he can use one of us since we know what we're doing, so we're also valuable in that way. So it's kind of like a job too. So most of the classroom feels like you're at work, because that's also the point of North Monco, is to have a job setting but it be school at the same time. And there's also book work that we do, which is more like the academic portion of machining, where you learn background information on whether it's different types of machines or machining methods or anything really. So anything that has to do with learning in this, regardless of what type of learning it is, you put yourself in the class and you're doing it.
And I guess they probably like doing the hands-on work on the machines a little better than the book work.
Yeah.
Is that what you get some feedback on that, Frank?
Yeah, a lot of kids come to North Monco for that very thing. I get a lot of hands-on people that learn more out in the shop than they do behind the books. But what I try to teach them in the books is this is the method that you're going to do, and this is why you're putting so many threads when you tap holes in a part, and it makes a lot of sense when they really get out there and have to read the prints and go through the part and make them.
It must be fun when they make your first part and start to finish. Well, what's that whole process like, the whole machining process? How does it begin? You have a piece of metal.
Well, normally when you start the process, the student will take a look at the blueprint, and they'll have to decide what shape metal they're going to cut and how long a part they have to saw off. They have to also calculate, rough size in there, make it a little bit longer so they can face off the ends and make it square and to the right length, because we do call it precision machine. It is a precise part that's going to fit into something that probably will allow your car to steer its way down the road, or allow an airplane to fly, or even a medical product that's going to go into you at some time. You would want a precision part. And then they take the print, and then what they do is decide what size material they need to do. They have to select the right type of bar stock to cut, put it in the saw, cut it to the right length, machine it square, and then start cutting their part to look exactly like the print, and going by that.
So it's a lot involved, but the end result is worth it. Now, there seems to be a misconception that there's not jobs in this field. Sometimes parents say that, and I know you know differently, we know differently at the school. Can you tell us more about what opportunities are available for students?
Yeah. There's actually so many jobs. I don't have that many students to fill all the jobs. I get calls constantly, week to week, on different jobs out in the field. In the past years, I'd say every kid that left my class wanted a job, had a job. There's just so many out there in the field. There's a lot of different companies locally that take on. Some of them have apprenticeship programs to try to pull them in. Some of them are just happy to take, you know, as many students as I have in these different jobs. And a lot of the different things are, you know, companies nearby that have aerospace companies. There's, you know, companies nearby that make parts for Harley Davidson. There's a lot of companies nearby that make different parts for cars and automotive type vehicles.
Do the students need any additional training, or are they getting hired right from high school?
They're getting hired right from high school. There is, they have a choice to either go on to different colleges if they'd like to go on and get a higher up job, maybe programming or doing something like that in CNC. There's different colleges around like Thaddeus Stevens, Williamson, and Penn Tech, where students of mine have gone to and are graduating now.
I think that's a misconception too, that they think if they come into your program, they can't go to college. And the other misconception is if they come into your program, they're not going to get a job because they have to go to college. But you're saying we can do both and still find employment.
Yeah, there's plenty of good jobs out there with good benefits and all too. Like Lauriana's going to start a job soon with benefits and, you know, vacation days, full medical and stuff like that.
And tuition reimbursement too.
Yeah.
So I'm also planning on going to college just so that I can have another career path. Like, I love this and I want to pursue this for the rest of my life. But if something were to change and I couldn't do this, or if I wanted to actually go into something else and change my life up, then I would have background knowledge. And the job that I'm going to get, they're going to be okay with that, and they're going to want to help me the best that they can so that I can be successful with them and then anywhere else I go in life. So you can do both. It doesn't really matter which you want to do. If you don't want to go to college but you want to go to tech school, that's fine. If you don't want to, like, if you really just don't want to go to college, it's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. We're able to help you and you'll be able to get that job that you want in this field. And even if you don't have all of the training necessary, they will train you. They want you to be successful and they want you to help them be successful. So they're helping you while you're helping them at the same time.
That's right, and it's like you were saying, they don't have the established bad habits yet of doing anything, so the company can shape you into being the best employee they have. And Frank, I know we've talked about this before. Companies have come in and talked to us saying they want to hire students right out of high school and then put them through college so that you grow with their company, so that you started from the very beginning stages and you work your way up. So when you're the manager and one of the vice presidents, you understand all the aspects of the company, and that's what they say, that's their goal when they hire our students. So I think that's a great opportunity. Now we're going to switch a little bit. You're a senior, and seniors at North Monco have to do a senior project. So can you tell us about yours?
Mine, I'm getting NIMS certificates, and NIMS stands for the National Institution of Metalworking Skills. And basically, the certifications that you get are to show that you are able to perform the skills needed for the specific thing that they're for. Like, for example, the first one that I ever got was measurement, material, and safety, where you basically learn safety, how to measure things with different tools and different types of materials and everything. So it's kind of like basic knowledge type thing, but then that'll show a company that you have basic knowledge and it's written proof that you do, rather than them just going by your word and your regular education. And I'm planning on getting more ones. I'm doing the CNC mill and then the CNC lathe operator ones, where I'm learning a little bit about programming, but more so about how to operate these machines, which once I'm certified, that's also a really big accomplishment right there, that you know how to work these brand new types of machines, because CNC is becoming more and more popular and they need more people for that. So that also gives me a better chance at getting a job in these places. So it's also, I'm using it more for as a grade and as job skill type things. So it's kind of a win-win. So I can be able to graduate and then be able to show my future employer that I'm able to do what you need me to do and it won't cause a problem.
Sounds very exciting. Frank, are these industry certifications recognized, nationally? How does this NIMS work?
Yeah, NIMS is recognized all over the United States. There's 11 different NIMS certificates you can get. Like I said, it starts out with measurement, material, and safety. It goes into job planning and benchwork and planning. Then you can get course specified, certificates in lathe, milling, grinding, CNC operator, CNC mill operator, CNC lathe operator, and then there's CNC programming in mill and lathe. So it gives you a good opportunity, and to back up what Lauriana said, it's really nice. It's a great opener to walk in with your resume and your certificate and say, I've really accomplished this, and the employer knows exactly what skills they have accomplished. There's usually a performance test that goes along with it, plus an online, test that is graded by, not by me, but just proctored and all. So it's not, it is a real world certification.
And so an outside company handles this. And
Yes.
it is a great opportunity. And so a lot of your students, do they earn these certifications?
Yes, it's open to all students to take as many NIMS as they want through the public school, and they can take as many certificates and earn as many certificates as they want, which is a great opportunity for them. And the public school system covers all the fees.
Well, I heard something about a grant you received for NIMS.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, we received a grant through Haas to train students and adults for getting their certificate. So the grant would cover all their books that they need. It'll cover registration fees and then all the fees for taking each one of the certificates.
And Haas makes the machines, is that?
Haas is a machine maker too. It's a really good educational machine maker because with every Haas machine I buy, they give us a free trainer, which is really nice for the students to work on because they're always worried that they're going to break a very expensive machine.
Right.
And the trainer gives them the opportunity to feel real comfortable. And it does everything on a lathe in the mill that a real machine will do.
That's great. And I guess the benefit to Haas is they want to sell companies their machines. And they're not going to sell them unless they have trained machinists for the company. So it's a win-win for all.
Yeah, it is.
That's great. Let's switch gears one more time. Frank, you're in charge of the robotics team, a joint venture with North Penn. Tell us something about it.
We have about 40 students on the robotics team, and it's made up of a joint venture between North Monco and North Penn. It's called the Robotics Club, and we run from October till about May. It's open for 9th through 12th grade students. We teach them different things like electrical, pneumatics, programming in Java, and it's actually me and 9 other mentors from different industry, mentors from, we have mentors from Boeing Vertol and Lockheed Martin. We have mentors from American Airlines and different local companies around here, engineering companies that build different products and actually hire our students. And a lot of the students actually go to these different companies and work for these different companies as interns during the summer and all, paid internships and all. But what we teach the kids is simple things like electrical, how to solder, how to read prints and all for electrical prints, how to wire up different types of components. And then the programming is done in like a Java program. So in the end, what we do is in January, we have a project for the kids, and we do a first robotics robot, which is a full-size robot that they build, and all the students have to program it and wire it and mechanically build all the different parts for the robot and compete against other high school teams. So it's really nice. It's a lot of learning classes, and then we get the project to prove how good we are at it.
So you don't have to just be a machining student then to be in this program, in the Robotics Club?
Yeah, we take all different kinds of students. We're looking for students even to do business. We put together a business plan. We're looking for students to do graphics. We put our sponsors on it. We get corporate sponsors to run the club and to give us, funds for the club to run and to join different competitions and work with it. So we have a lot of different categories that we use.
And it can be any student from North Penn or any student from North Monco that can join this club.
Exactly. Any student from North Penn and North Monco. And some students are from North Penn, but they also go to North Monco, like a dual enrollment type student. Or we do have students from North Monco, which is really nice because then we can reach out to different high schools that don't have a similar program like we have, like Solderton, Methacton, Perk Valley, and Wissahickon. I even have students from Wissahickon, even though they have a first robotics club too.
So it's great. So they're there at the school, they can get involved, or they're right nearby at North Penn, and they can come over and join. And I know you're winning a lot of awards, and it's an exciting season for you. So this is great. So good luck to the team.
Thank you.
Lauriana, you were in the robotics team, you were telling me,
Yeah,
but little work commitments made it tough this year.
I was on the robotics team for 2 years, my 10th and 11th grade year, and then this year I was going to be on it, but then I decided to get a job which I knew would take up way too much of my time to be able to work around to come to the robotics team, which I'm sad about it because it's a really fun experience. It's hard work, but it all pays off, and the competitions are great. It's awesome watching a robot do all the things that it could possibly do, and the fact that you were the one who did it, you were a part of putting that thing together that is going out and showing everybody, hey, I'm the best. I can do this. But I still help out with it during class time if it's needed. I'll help out with building the robot because when I was on the team, I was on the mechanical team part of it where I helped assemble it as well as machining some of the parts. And some of the kids on the robotics team get to learn a little bit about machining too, because especially if they're on the mechanical team, because that's all a part of it. Sometimes you have to build your own parts for it, and having the background knowledge made it a little easier, so I could help other kids too and help any of the mentors that needed it. And it was overall a really good experience, and I'm happy for them that they're doing so well this year, and I wish I could be a part of it, but I'm glad that I can still watch from the sidelines and be like, yeah, that's still my team.
It sounds like it's a really great opportunity for all those involved.
Because we all care about each other, and we all care about our robot as well.
Well, I'm so glad, and I hope you do very well. And I want to thank you both for coming here and talking about the machining program, all the opportunities available. If you would like more information about any of the programs offered at North Monco Technical Career Center, give us a call at 215-368-1177 or visit our website www.nmtcc.org. For North Monco Technical Career Center, I'm Suzette McHugh. Thank you for watching.